Good evening, and welcome to the AARP Civic Debate Series, a joint production of Colorado Public Television and AARP. I'm your host, Dominic Dezzutti. Tonight, we continue our series of debates looking at the major races for the Denver City Council. Our first debate this evening features the candidates from Denver's District 8. Joining us for the next 30 minutes are Miguel Ceballos-Ruiz, Chris Herndon, LaMone Noles. Also joining us, Erik Penn, Blair Taylor, and Patrick Thibault. Everyone, thank you very much for joining us. We have limited time, so let's get to it. I want to ask each of you to answer a question in about 1 minute so we can get to as much information for all the viewers as possible. Miguel, we're going to start with you. Okay. An affordable public transportation system is vital to a livable city and to many Denver residents who depend on it. What policies would you pursue in the City Council to promote a more affordable and accessible transportation system for all city residents?
Yeah, you know, our transportation district is the most expensive in the country, and it's not working for a lot of working people and people on tight incomes, including seniors. So right now, I think we have to step outside of the box and start thinking about creating our own transportation district in Denver, especially as we face the I-70 Central project escalating. And my concern is how are residents from far northeast Denver, from Montbello, going to get downtown to our centers of higher learning, to the Denver Health Hospital. And so I propose that CDOT and the city come together and pay for free circulator buses in Montbello, in Park Hill, and in Stapleton to connect people to the A-line and also to the future rapid transit along Colfax.
Thank you, Miguel. Chris, same question to you as the incumbent in this race, but the same question. What would you do to promote an accessible transportation system for all city residents?
Well, one of the things we need to do is first we need to invest in that transportation infrastructure. And one of the things that we did 2 years ago was when we asked the voters to pass the bond measure. And several $1 million of those dollars are going to go to the bus rapid transit, which will connect our people along the Colfax corridor to the downtown core. So that's one thing we're doing. We're investing in efficient modes of transportation. And also we need to have a Department of Transportation. And we just announced that recently that we are going to create a Department of Transportation within the city and county of Denver, so that we are looking at how we can better move people in a more sustainable and efficient way.
LaMone, same question to you about an affordable and accessible transportation system for all city residents.
So I like the model that was used on the 16th Street Mall where the businesses chipped in to provide free rides for the passengers. And, you know, with the A-line going up and the high-speed trains, RTD is kind of contracting on the neighborhood routes. So there again, circulators within these districts would be a big help to the passengers and either reduce the fares for kids and seniors or no fares at all if you get the business community to chip in.
Erik, same question regarding the public transportation system for all of Denver's residents.
Yeah, I agree. I think what we need to do is focus on transit as a way of life. And so that starts at getting riders at a younger age. So I hope that we can push forward and create the My Denver card to be a RTD bus pass as well, that allows students access to the buses. This is going to help both our education system and kids access resources. But we also have to look at how our city infrastructure is built. We need to focus on complete streets that include transit options, minimize cars as much as we can, but also encourage walking, biking, taking other forms of transit, and pitching in to that system as much as we can.
Blair, your opinion on the transportation system and needs in Denver?
So right now, RTD serves everywhere from Parker to, Louisville. And today, I did see that the mayor was moving towards a metropolitan transit agency, which I feel very strongly with all of the growth, that we need to focus on how we're moving people in this city around. I think that having the highest fares for public transportation in the nation is not acceptable with growth, and that we need to reinvest. We need to have, children under 12 riding for free. Right now, low income qualifies for a family of 4 is $50,000. That's not really low income. That it needs to be much lower in order to qualify for reduced fares. I think that we need to look at how we're going to move workers around. The idea is to get people out of their cars. And if we don't have multimodal ways, and if we're not being efficient with bike paths and extending routes and reduced fares, we're not going to get people out of their cars. And we're going to have the same problems.
Patrick, wrap it up for us. Accessible and affordable transportation in Denver.
Yes, so we do need to focus on how we move people and not just creating more lanes. But as we move forward with some of the projects, especially bus rapid transit, that we are having the conversations about how our neighborhoods are able to, or we're able to provide better connectivity between our routes and methods, but then also make sure that we're having the conversation about can our neighborhoods support the change in traffic patterns. I think is a very important conversation that we have as that particular project continues.
Okay. Erik, we're coming to you first on this one. Denver is currently experiencing a shortage of affordable housing. If elected, what would you do to protect and increase the supply of affordable housing, specifically in light of the prospect of increased gentrification of some neighborhoods and along newly opened light rail lines? Erik.
Yeah, when it comes to affordable housing, I think we have to focus on how is it we get the most bang for our buck. So when we have developers who are pursuing certain types of projects, such as light tech, we need to ensure that the city is there to back them up on those projects and to ensure that they get the funding, gap funding, any type of backup or support that they need to ensure those projects happen. Secondarily to that, we need to look at our areas of the city that are susceptible to gentrification, and we need to put some rules down that help preserve those neighborhoods. When we encourage development in those neighborhoods, I think we have a responsibility to say what type of development we're looking for that allows residents to stay in those communities and still take advantage of the generational history and the wealth that is there, but also providing more density that's necessary as our city continues to grow. We do need to focus on our transit systems and our corridors of transit and how we develop along those. So when we're talking about bus rapid transit along Colfax, when we're talking about the A line that's coming from the airport through our district to downtown, we have to focus on how we develop around those areas and ensure that families have access to amenities and to the transit, but also that our house prices stay reasonable for the people that live in those areas currently.
Blair, how do you protect and increase the supply of affordable housing in Denver?
I think right now what we have is a disparity between development and what we're actually providing for our communities and neighborhoods. I think that with such a low linkage fee that and the price of real estate being so great that we need to increase that fee and support community land trusts and be really creative when it comes to providing affordable housing options. It may not be, feasible for high-priced real estate to incorporate affordable housing, but we need to insist upon it. If it's a neighborhood that's been vulnerable to gentrification, we need to assure that we have concurrent construction of units to ensure that people who already live in that neighborhood can stay in the neighborhood. We need to make sure that when a development comes in, that it's providing something for the community, whether it be infrastructure or if it's a multi-use building, wraparound services or community building or a storefront or incorporating local shop owners. So it's really a comprehensive plan.
Patrick, same question. What everyone's talking about, affordable housing.
Yes, so it's not just one silver bullet. We do need to take a look at our linkage fees formulas. It's too easy to opt out of inclusionary housing for the city. But then if we do want to meet or have our development community participate with some of our goals with creating inclusionary housing, it's really difficult. So if someone wants to create development between that 40% AMI and under, they have to bring 90% of their financing to the table. And so we do, as a city, need to provide better gap financing and procure more mission-based funders to help us facilitate some of that work.
Miguel, protecting and making affordable housing available. How do you do it?
I think we really have to focus first on making sure that people get the support they need in order not to be displaced from their community, right? And once we have a good program that allows people, some help. Right now, people are being forced out of their neighborhoods, particularly seniors. And so I also think that, building the stock is absolutely important. I really believe that we are headed into an economic downturn. Unfortunately, there is a lot of foreclosures that come with that. I really believe that we have to help families stay in their home through that. And then any home that unfortunately does get foreclosed on should be earmarked as, in perpetuity as an affordable home, and make that first right of refusal to nonprofits to make that a reality.
Chris, what's the key to protecting affordable housing in Denver?
we've got to continue to build. And over the past 4 years in District 8, we've built affordable units in every neighborhood within District 8. If you think about Park Hill Station in 2016, 160 units approximately, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms for rent. If you think about home ownership opportunities, we've done that in Stapleton. We're certainly having a conversation about AARP right now. We did senior housing in Montbello, 85 units for those 62 and over, and we have more units coming along the East Colfax corridor as well. So that's the first thing. And then secondly, the Affordable Housing Fund, we need to make sure it's as robust as it should be. I voted against the Affordable Housing Fund initially because I didn't believe $150 million over 10 years was appropriate. It wasn't enough. And 2 years later, we came back and we doubled it. And so you need to have those hard conversations about, do we have the correct funding, but also, are we building the units? And we're doing that in District 8.
LaMone, wrap it up for us. We're talking about affordable housing in the city of Denver.
So the affordable housing funds should be made available also to homeowners who want to do ADUs, accessory dwelling units, on their properties. And I think that the homeowners should be given the opportunity to decide how they want their property built out. Instead of being taxed out or gentrified out, they should be part of the solution in terms of affordable and low-income housing.
Patrick, we're going to start with you on this next question. What do you believe is the greatest barrier to older adults being able to age with dignity in their community?
Well, specifically in District 8, it's that folks are being priced out of their homes. Folks take a look at their property taxes at the end of the year, and there's a lot of our senior residents who are wondering how they're going to be able to stay in their homes, especially when there hasn't been a cost of living increase on Social Security for a number of years, and it continues to get more expensive to live in Denver. And I forgot what you were saying. But
it was just the issues facing older adults in their community.
Yeah, and so it's also access to neighborhood amenities as well. Not only do we don't have adequate transportation services that provide adequate modes of transportation for our seniors, but there isn't good access to community health options as well. The travel to pick up prescriptions or to go to the grocery store is difficult for our seniors, and so we need to work on better routes and methods for the everyday lifestyles for our seniors.
Okay. Miguel, what do you believe is the greatest barrier to older adults able to age with dignity in their community?
Yeah, well, absolutely. The cost of living, right? In Denver is just the honest truth. Most of our senior residents who are on a fixed income have a really tough decision to make every single month, right? And a lot of them fall behind in their bills. And so what are we doing as a city in order to value those residents who have built this city? I think it's really unfair that now that our communities are so desirable and so wonderful, thanks to them, that basically there's no empathy there. We are not helping them out in the way that we should. And we have to value the diversity that Denver's losing, right? And I really feel that that's where it begins. Yeah, in Montbello, there is a new unit for seniors, and I go there all the time and I walk with the seniors. Unfortunately, there's not a walk-in clinic in Montbello, right? So access to health is a real challenge. If they have a cold, if their blood pressure's up, if their sugar's high, and they have Denver Health, they're being forced to go all the way downtown to get these services. So how are they going to do that through I-70 construction also, right?
Chris, same question. What do you believe is the greatest barrier for older adults to age with dignity in their community?
We certainly know the cost of living in Denver is certainly a challenge for our seniors, which is why, as our city, we offer rebates for our seniors if you are a homeowner, and we also have what's called TRUA, temporary rental and utilities assistance as well for those that are on fixed income. So, as a city, we are offering resources for those who are struggling if they are on a fixed income, and that has helped those in those dire straits. But we also need to talk about connectivity, because we have several parts of the district where we don't have the sidewalks so people can be able to walk to the resources that are available to them, which is why when we invested in the bond 2 years ago, millions of dollars are going to go to that infrastructure, to including sidewalks. So it's about ensuring we can support our seniors through resources, through property owners, as well as renters, as well as connectivity, so they'll be able to walk to the great amenities that we have here in District 8.
LaMone, aging with dignity in Denver.
So when my family moved into Park Hill, there were several neighborhood shopping centers that had everything we needed: groceries, drugstore, hair salons, you name it. they were walkable, okay? And then that went away in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And so now we want to revisit that as though it's a new idea. So the communities that are being planned should incorporate that not only for the new people coming in, but for the people who have been here and have paid their way.
Erik, living and aging with dignity in Denver.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to talk to one of the state demographers recently and learn that Denver and Colorado as a whole are going to experience a large growth in our older adults. And I don't think that we're planning accordingly for that. We've seen already with the rising cost of housing, of our transportation issues, our lack of connectivity between our sidewalks and our networks, that our system just isn't there. I think people are realizing that, and they're realizing that they either have to leave or things have to change. We also know that people are now working as they get older, and do we have a system in place that actually makes sense for that to happen? So I think we need to invest as a city in more programs for our older adults around home renovation and repair, around utility assistance, ensuring that taxes don't rise to a level that's unmanageable, as well as building out systems for transportation. I know our senior housing in Montbello is situated next to a 6-lane street that is difficult to pass. And these are the issues that people really face. They want to get out, they want to walk, they want to go to a grocery store that we don't have in our community. And it's about making sure those things are in their neighborhoods and they have access to get to them.
Blair, let's wrap it up with you. How do we age with dignity in Denver?
So the first thing I think of is when you're on a fixed income, you could be one medical emergency away from losing your house or being behind on payments. And in Park Hill, we happen to be lucky that we have access to the Dahlia Mental Health and Wellbeing Campus, which provides a lot of free classes, finance programs, health services, but not every neighborhood in District 8 has that access. And when we look at places like Montbello, they don't even have connectivity to the A line, which is supposedly providing public transportation to go places. So we really need to look at comprehensively, what do people need? They need, access to fresh food, social programs, medical, help and health programs, and how are they going to get there? We don't really have a crosswalk to cross MLK for people who, are going to be going to Dahlia campus, or if they need to get, someplace in Montbello, how are they going to do that? And it needs to be affordable.
So it's one of our last questions. LaMone, we're going to start with you. What do you believe to be the greatest barrier to older adults staying in the workforce and or re-entering the workforce after the age of 50? And what can the city of Denver do to ensure equal access to all interested in working?
Well, discrimination in age still exists, and there is a lack of appreciation for older workers who have boatload of experience. In order to make it tenable for them, I think the laws need to be reviewed to stop the discrimination process. And within the agencies or corporations themselves, they can set up a mentoring program for seniors who are about to retire so that they can mentor incoming staff who are being trained in different areas.
Erik, let's go to you for the same question about aging people in Denver that want to stay in the workforce.
I've had the benefit of working for the Office of Economic Development in their workforce development branch, and so I know about some of the programs that are offered to the community. And I think one of the biggest barriers that we see in our aging workforce is, to LaMone's point around discrimination, is a belief that the technical skills that are required in today's workforce are not there. I believe otherwise. I think they are there, and I think if they need sharpening or refreshing, that these workforce centers offer classes, I think, that help bridge that gap into the workplace. I think what we need to do is better partner our city resources with employers out in the community to help them understand that these services exist, that they can send their employees to these programs, that hopefully we can expand these programs, make them more robust, and put them into workplaces to help support employees instead of retirement, but continue on in that workforce. And I think it's about matching people up in career paths that they want to be working in. And so I think we have the opportunity and the skill set and the resources to do that. We just need to make the investment and the priorities.
Blair, what can the city of Denver do to ensure equal access for all interested in working?
So I would say a lot of very similar things in that, one, we need to ensure that if people want to increase their skill set, whether it comes around, technology or whatever they feel that maybe they can't migrate into in that industry, but provide those resources if it's classes or certification. And then if they want to sidestep into a different position, because they may want to retire at some point, but to just provide the opportunities, make sure that you're doing due diligence as the city and community outreach, and ensure people have the information in order to take advantage of these opportunities. And it's a very real thing in a city that's growing as quickly as ours. We have a lot of new people coming in, and we need to ensure that the people who've created this great place can stay where they want to.
Patrick, your answer about ensuring equal work access for all interested in working.
Yes, we do need to better support our retraining programs, but we also have to make sure that they're effective as well. We can't just throw money at the situation and expect that it's going to work, but we actually have to really have clear deliverables that we can attain from a city standpoint from our retraining programs, and also make sure that they're providing skills for folks in a wide range of areas where they can not only develop their professional experience, but then also be competitive in a very competitive Denver job market.
Miguel, ensuring equal access for all interested in working.
Yeah, of course. So, the other day I was knocking doors in Northeast Park Hill, and I ran across one of the residents there who had a bachelor's degree and was a senior. And they were telling me how difficult it was for them because they were in a situation that they didn't have internet access. And for them, getting out to the workforce center in Montbello was a real challenge. And so they told me, Miguel, once you're in there, please ensure that we can have one of these offices here. There's no way that I could get way out to Federal or way out to Montbello. And so I think that opening that will create a whole lot of opportunity for District 8. And yeah, I'm almost 34. I foresee myself working until the day that I die. Unfortunately, right now it's so expensive to live that you're unable to save. And so we really need to support seniors, through a really strong tax exemption program and amplifying that and giving them a little bit more wiggle room in their budget every month.
Chris, wrap it up for us. Providing equal access to all interested in working.
Absolutely. It's about connecting those that want to work with the businesses that are hiring. It's interesting, when I will do business tours in District 8, because we have industrial areas in Park Hill and Montbello, I will talk to the business owners and ask, how do they hire? And almost to a letter, they always say they do it through a third party. And then I let them know, right across the hallway from the District 8 office is the Workforce Center. And this is where individuals are coming, some of our seniors who may not have that connection to the technology that we may believe, this is where they come looking for work. So I connect those business owners with the Workforce Center so they can hire people that are in that community that can literally walk to work and be successful, as well as advocate for, hey, this is what our seniors bring to the table with the maturity in their history and how valuable they are to the workforce. You continue to do that, they'll be able to continue to work where they would like.
A half an hour goes very fast in the studio. I can attest to that personally. What we're going to do now is go to our closing statements. We're going to ask each of our candidates to take 30 seconds to give their final pitch. And we picked out the order out of a cup earlier before the debate. So, Chris, you're up first for your 30-second closing statement.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. We know that Denver is facing some challenges. Challenges with affordability, challenges with infrastructure, challenges with sustainability. And we have tackled them head on in District 8. I'm asking for your vote. I've proudly served Northeast Denver for 8 years, 2 years as City Council President, and I'm asking for your vote on May 7th so that I can serve for 4 more years so that we can address those issues head on. Thank you.
LaMone, you're up next for your 30-second closing statement.
As a second-generation Denver native and Park Hill resident, I've seen a lot of good things in the past, and I've also seen things go down. However, this is a really good opportunity for the community to get involved, register to vote, vote for your candidate, and then get involved with your community from this day forward, because this is an opportunity for all of us to make our community what we want it to be.
Thank you, LaMone. Erik, you're up next for your 30-second closing statement.
Yeah, I want to thank AARP and CPT for putting this on. Right now, we have the opportunity to decide what Denver is going to look like for the next 20 years. We're using the blueprint plan and the Denverite process and the neighborhood plans right now, and I encourage everyone to get as active as they can. Register to vote, get involved in your community, and that's where I started. So I've worked with registered neighborhood organizations, community nonprofits. My background is in community social work, and I work in healthcare currently. This is the work that I love to do, and I hope that we can tackle some of the city's most pressing issues head on come this May. So I look forward to your vote, and thank you for having us.
Patrick, it's time for your 30-second statement.
So as a fourth-generation resident of Denver, I have seen our District 8 neighborhoods grow and change. I think that neighborhood history is really important to recognize the personal stories of all of our residents, especially of our seniors, and the contributions that they've made to our community. But we also need to look to the future about how we can accommodate future growth. I've been not only a community organizer, but a chief of staff for a state senator and state representative, so I'm confident I can get to work day one and build that vision with our District 8 neighborhoods.
Blair, you're up next for your 30-second closing statement.
Thank you. So the mayor and city council set the stage and tone for our city. We need to ensure that our leaders act with integrity. We've seen a lot of change and growth in the last 8 years, but we've also seen a lot of disparity and inequity in our neighborhoods. It's time now that we elect new representatives, people who are driven from the ground up, who understand our community needs and are committed to representing everybody and ensuring that we all have opportunities. In May, please vote for a representative that you feel will best represent your issues, your concerns. Thank you so much for having me, and go vote.
And Miguel, your last 30-second closing statement.
Yes, of course. You know, right now our leaders for our city are telling us that everything is just fine and that they're trying as hard as they can. There is a disconnect with the community. A lot of people who have grown up here, including myself, we're wondering, is this really as good as it gets? Are we really going to be left behind in this time of extreme economic growth? And I feel that the way that decisions are being made at City Council do not reflect the best interests of the community. I really feel that right now we have to be bold and vote in new leadership. So I do invite you to vote for me, Miguel. My website is miguelfordenver.com. And thank you so much for hosting this today.
That is all the time we have for our look at the Denver City Council race in District 8. I'd like to thank our candidates for joining us: Miguel Ceballos-Ruiz, Chris Herndon, LaMone Noles, Erik Penn, Blair Taylor, and Patrick Thibault. Up next, we take a look at the candidates running in the race for the 9th District, so be sure to stay tuned. For everyone here at Colorado Public Television and at AARP, I'm Dominic Dezzutti. Thanks for watching.